Hello, it's Anastasia Forrest, your host of The Creative Real Estate Agent, and I like to think of myself as the Creative Real Estate Agent. It's been a while. It's been a long time. It's been 2 months since I've made an episode for the show. And if you've looked at the title of this episode, you know what's coming. Basically, I am announcing in this 31st episode that I'm going to be taking a break from the show, an intentional break, not just one that I haven't done anything with it for 2 months, but I'm not sure when I'm going to be ready to start it again. I've really enjoyed this experience of hosting a podcast, and I love the topic, and I love communicating, and I love interviewing people and learning from other people. So it is something I can see myself picking up again. Just right now, I've got a lot going on in my life. October 1st, in fact, the last day that I made an episode, my most recent episode, that same exact day that I recorded it, my life kind of changed. Things happen, and life presents opportunities in the disguise of challenges, and I've got one of those great opportunities to grow and learn, and I'm in it, and I'm putting a lot of my attention there, and it just needs to be that way right now. So having the podcast is a wonderful thing, but it's also a very time-consuming commitment, as you can imagine. Between booking the guests, planning the interviews, getting the equipment set up, and recording it, and then editing it, and then writing up the blurb to go with it, and the title, and then posting it in multiple places and promoting it. It's a big job, and our time is well, it's a limited commodity, and our attention is a limited commodity. At least it feels that way. So basically, I just had to look at it and put it in perspective, and ask myself if this was something that I had time for right now, and had the emotional and mental, bandwidth for right now. And right now, I just don't right now. So as far as real estate goes, I am very much, focusing on. There's a focus there for sure. I'm building my brand, and continuing in my career as a real estate agent. And if you're curious what I'm going to be focusing on for lead generation, I'll give you a little hint. It's YouTube. I gave it away. Yeah, that's where I'm focusing on for lead generation right now. And yeah, I still am happy to talk to people about, potential agents about joining EXP. And honestly, that was obviously part of the purpose of the show, is to potentially recruit other agents to join EXP, and even guide them and have them on my personal team. But as I think I've driven the point home already about, I just don't have time to give to that part of the career. So my focus will be on my family and myself, and growing, and also serving my community with real estate services. And that's what it will be for now. So I want to just leave you with some quotes. These I actually have been listening to one of my favorite spiritual teachers a lot. I'm listening to his multi-session publication that he put out. On Audible, and I honestly don't know what it's called. It's called Surrendering to the. I don't remember. It's surrendering. It's about surrender. And I'm just gonna read a couple quotes here that feel relevant. And one is actually about what our career actually is. And it says here, I wrote this down. Life itself is your career, and your interaction with life is your most meaningful relationship. Everything else you're doing is just focusing on a tiny subset of life, in the attempt to give life some meaning. What actually gives life meaning is the willingness to live it. It isn't any particular event, it's the willingness to experience life's events. And the teacher that wrote that, and this is actually from his book, I misspoke. This is from his book, The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself. His name is Michael A. Singer. Whoa. And there's one other quote, and this, I definitely feel there's truth there. Spirituality is the commitment to go beyond, no matter what it takes. It's an infinite journey based upon going beyond yourself every minute of every day for the rest of your life. If you're truly going beyond, you are always at your limits. You are never back in the comfort zone. A spiritual being feels as though they are always against that edge, and they are constantly being pushed against it or pushed through it. So he talks a lot about a journey of letting go of our stuff instead of going with our stuff, whether that stuff be a repeated pattern, a thought that pulls you, away from your center, or, an emotion from your heart, even. A lot of his stuff is just about watching that happen and being being the witness and being there and watching the energy go through and letting it go. And, and that's basically tons of talks and books, but it's all about that same thing. And it's about becoming more and more free by using our willpower, basically, to basically allow energy and events and stuff to move through us, because the other thing we can use our willpower for is to chase the thoughts, keep pulling those thoughts to ourselves or those events to ourselves, and getting lost in the melodrama of life, and not actually losing sight of who we really are in the process, and what he would say we are is pure consciousness, So it's great stuff, pretty deep, and it's stuff that I'm working on right now, very much so in my life. And if and when I do start another podcast, I might actually pull more of that stuff in. I definitely touched on spirituality and practices related to that in this podcast. I think especially in my last episode, even though I didn't umbrella it underneath the theme of spirituality necessarily, that actually those practices are actually pretty similar in essence to the kind of practices that even Michael is talking about with his teachings, and many others have observed to be the nature of life, to be the nature of our existence. And anyway, I really appreciate each and every one of you listeners. I don't know who you are. I haven't heard much feedback at all from people, but I do know you're out there. To this day, I think I had 733 downloads. So I know there's at least some downloading going on. I don't know how much you guys are listening to this, but I appreciate each and every one of you, and I certainly would love to be back again if that is what is called for. And I figure I'll just know when the time's right, and I will start this podcasting machine up again at that time. Take good care and stay creative. Bye-bye.